What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Out There with, well, you know who it is, Matt Sandiford. Special shout out to Johnny Nieto for helping edit this stuff and recording it and all that awesome stuff. Make sure you check out all his socials, gardenary.com, the Gardenary. Well, no, there's no the. But Gardenary, he sells a lot of cool shirts he designs. Go check him out if you have any music video needs, any photography needs, anything with a camera and awesomeness editing, hit him up. If you need links to it, just hit me up in any of the comments on any of the platforms, and I'll send it over to you. But today we have a really cool special guest. I'm really excited about this one. His name is Raymond Charles, out of South Carolina, one of the I would say one of the most well-known food critics. And basically, he goes around to all these spots, restaurants, dive bars, dive restaurants, well-known mom and pops, you name it. He goes and checks them out, grabs whatever's good on the menu, and he gives a full review of service, the cleanliness, and if the food lives up to the hype or not. But we have him on today, and it was a really awesome talk. Unfortunately, during editing, we had a few parts of the video that just didn't make it through. So we're gonna have him on for another podcast. So we're gonna really talk for a while. He's a great guy, great conversations. I enjoyed every moment talking with him. He's a good guy with big heart, and watch out if he comes to your restaurant. Yeah, but y'all give it up. This is gonna be a great podcast. Thank y'all. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Unfiltered Out There. Hope everybody's having a beautiful day. It's freaking nice here in South Carolina, 72 or something like that. Feels amazing. But I got two special guests here today with me in the studio. We got Raymond Charles right over here. If you want to introduce kind of a little bit about what you do, and we'll do the deep dives as to who you are and what you're doing. Before we get into the nitty gritty.
Hey, how much time we got? What do I do?
Go for it, man.
Of course, food reviews. That's the reason why I'm here. Food reviews. I'm into music. I'm into car sales. Of course, funeral service. I mean, it's just a broad range of stuff that I'm in. I appreciate you having me. I definitely appreciate you inviting me.
Oh, it's a pleasure, man. As soon as I saw some of your reviews, I was like, this is the kind of guy I want to talk with. It's so interesting, it's something so different. We also got Johnny over here, owner of Gardenary T-shirts and awesomeness, music video extraordinary, you name it. Give us a little shout out real quick, Johnny.
My name is Johnny. I'm like the master of side quest. I do everything. I make clothes like this shirt right here. It's called Gardenary. It's a clothing brand.
So you can do my taxes?
We can do anything. Just hit me up on DMs. Anything. Anything is possible with me.
Did you say taxes?
Yeah.
He could do taxes?
Yes.
He said anything. So I'm cooking me a piece of salmon.
Probably not salmon, but...
Oh, yeah.
I can put like piece of roast.
Dude, this is actually perfect now that I think about this dynamic.
I'm like the most picky eater. Like, I feel like the opposite.
Dude, all he eats is chicken fingers, I swear.
Really?
Yeah, it's like my go-to chicken fingers and like fries.
Oh.
We're going to break that.
Yeah, one day.
We're
You're gonna have to like tie me up.
We will chain him down and be like, eat this freaking piece of steak. And he'll be like, I hate it.
I like steak. I like steak.
That's it. You like steak?
Yeah, I like any type of meat. But
so you said...
No.
Oh.
Any type of meat, so you be eating people now? I think it's not. Whatever, yours, not mine.
Johnny. Pause. Major pause.
I guess we'll start off with the food review thing. I guess what got you into wanting to review food? I kind of wonder, like, in my head when I saw your stuff, the first question that came to my head is, what restaurant, like, just fucked you over? You were like, man, I want a chicken salad with some ranch, and they just come back with like a baby duck, and you're like, I will kill you. Like, what the hell? Like, what was it that put it on the map? You're like, I gotta get out there and do this.
So, about 2 years ago, I'm not gonna say the name of the restaurant, but I was in a restaurant and got my food. Everything looked perfect. Started eating it, and I looked around. Immediately looked around, like I can't be the only one feeling like this. So I started asking around, and everyone was like, "Oh well, it's okay. I mean, not the best, So I said, well, y'all not saying anything about it. So then I did research, like no one is ever talking about local restaurants, whether good or bad. And most owners that own restaurants, they don't know.
Yeah.
They just think because you don't say anything, then it's good. But a lot of times we won't say anything to our friends or something like that if they own a restaurant. Even if, like growing up, if your parents cooked something that you didn't like,
Yeah.
like you didn't say anything. You just
And that's a big Southern thing too, you know. Everyone's afraid of hurting someone's feelings because, oh, it doesn't matter, you know. If but Aunt Deborah made that, so you just gotta shut your mouth and eat it. You know that pound cake's good for you. Fatten up for the winter, boy. Like what?
No, but it's that. And then like I had a problem running into management.
Okay.
Like if I would go to management and say, hey, this wasn't made right or this wasn't made right, oh, there's nothing we can do. You paid for it, it's yours.
Well, I'm here to break that for you today.
Yeah, I think we're on a good path to breaking.
Well, I'm going to tell you how I'm going to break that for you today in a unique way. So most people, if you go to them, you're like, man, this sucks. You know, the world kind of they love positive accolades, but when it comes to like, hey, just so you know this, you know, hey, just let you know this wasn't the best. Most people hate that. Me, I thrive on that. So a little bit about me is I'm over every restaurant at the zoo. That's my job.
That's your job.
Yeah. Wow. And so this is how, and this, no, man, this is how we write that wrong. I wanted to be like, man, like this is, I appreciated it, you know? And I'm like, you know, Johnny, I probably could just roast him for days about, it's homemade. You know, I told her chef, I'm like, man, shit, it's homemade.
Everything's homemade. Mac and cheese is homemade.
Everything homemade.
Yeah.
Okay.
Chicken sending me batter. It's not none of the frozen stuff.
Okay.
No, but like, you know, it's the zoo's a unique place. You know, it's you know, of course you probably came. I don't know what day of the week it was, but we've got so many other restaurants, and like even if it's like we've got the most awesome menu, we still need to know when things aren't perfect or whatever it may be, and the world just needs to know, hey, like it's not like you found like a rat in the food, you know what I mean? It's like, and I saw it and I was like, man, this is awesome. I just want to talk to this guy. Not even so much about the zoo, but I was like, dude. And I told everyone, no, really, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, I'm over all the restaurants, so chill. I'm taking the hit, like, and I'm laughing about it. You're over here crying in your pillow. I'm like, chill, you know?
That's the thing about the zoo, that you see the good side of it, that it brought so much attention to the zoo that normally wouldn't get that amount of attention. People wouldn't visit. And now people just visit the zoo just because I want to go with Yvonne to see if it's true or not.
Yeah.
To see if it's homemade. And you know, Johnny over there, he kind of stretched the truth just a little bit. I mean, but
hey, and I will tell you, Johnny, he's sharp. You know, he's sharp, man.
He was on point.
Yeah, he's a supervisor. He's only. How old are you, Johnny? You're 19 now?
No, I'm 20. I just turned 20 like January.
Yeah, so he's young, man. He's
I'm like
figuring it
20.
out. But
As a
he's,
young entrepreneur, we applaud that. We
Hell no. Okay, I just work there, but if you want something affordable and quality, you should check out our shop called Garden.com. We got 2 teas right now, just like this, and we also got this love tea. But yeah, and it's also cheaper than the food too, so.
let me ask you, outside of food, what do you like at the zoo? You know, like, what do you like about the zoo? I'm assuming you're from South Carolina?
I am.
Okay.
I am born and raised Sumter, South Carolina. Kind of got a bad rep there, but
Y'all only got that bridge with like the ghost with the married lady, you know?
When you say only,
Yeah, no, there's a shit ton of ghosts there.
yeah, like we're small. I understand that you over here in the big metropolitan area and everything else like that, but you said that we only got what now?
Yeah, you got a lot of ghosts. I go fishing at Santee Cooper all the time. I drive through Sumter, and I'll just be driving, and I'll be like, what's that smell in my car? I didn't fart. That's sulfur. I'm like, something done jumped up in here. Damn it.
Hey, okay. All right.
You drive, what is that, Marion Bridge, or what's that, that's, what bridge is that where you drive into Sumter? Is it over Watery? Yeah, that's the one with the lady who died, and you supposedly see her, and she's in her wedding gown, right?
I've never heard that story.
My grandma told me that every time we drove to Sumter, and I'd be sitting in the back
Really?
seat. I'm like, why am I always in the back seat alone? You knew this was going to happen. I'm like 6, and you're just like, I'm
I
like,
want you to go.
yeah.
That's-
Or she was like, hey, you could get married now and think about this. Like, she going to take care of you, you know what I mean? Like, in hell. Like, whoa, I don't want all that.
So the story from Grandma was
Yeah, so
When did that?
yeah, she
What's the
died
story?
on her wedding night. So they got married, they went on their honeymoon, and they got in a wreck on that bridge, and she died. And so people will be driving on that bridge at night, and I've heard it from a fair amount of people, but I've also heard so many other stories about Sumter in that area. I grew up in Bamberg, so low country. Yeah, so I know about those little small towns
Yeah.
and like everything's haunted and everyone's a little weird, you know. But she was like, you'll see a lady in distress on the side of the road, and you want to stop to help her, you know, because she's in a wedding gown, you know. And then she'll be like, hey, take me to my mom's house. And then you'll get there and she just won't be there. And, you know, I've tried to figure out who the mother is, if she's still alive, to be like, because apparently there was like news articles to where the mom had said, like, yeah, people just show up all the time and, you know, the car's empty. And she tells them a story about what happened to her.
The wedding night. I've never heard that.
Yeah.
But I appreciate you for putting that image in my head.
Yeah.
Every time I travel that bridge, especially coming back like tonight at night, I'll be thinking about that. I'll thank you so much for that. I
Hey,
really appreciate
I'll
it.
tell you the trick, man. Right before you hit the bridge, put on some like, you know, David Crowder brand or some like some Hillsong United, and just, you know, just that spirit's going to come in and be like, oh, the good Lord is booming
Listen,
you
his
out.
song will get you through anything.
Oh yeah,
Hillsong is
Yeah.
like that.
yeah. Hillsong United will have you freaking doing jumping jacks out there in church, man. I used to do a lot of mission trips, and I would go to. I grew up Southern Baptist, but I would go and do a lot of stuff in the Methodist Church, Salkehatchie, where you go rebuild homes and stuff for people. And we would always stay in like Methodist churches, and I love staying in the United Methodist churches because everyone would complain about the heat, and I'd be so happy. I'm like, oh, I get to use the fan, and it like, and man, I loved it. It was like literally, if I could think back on the greatest times of my life, is every summer for about 8 years doing that. Just it was just life changing for me.
So you grew up in the church.
Oh yeah, and I grew up in the church. I don't go to church today. Not that I have any issue with churches as a whole. I just it's a weird time period. It's a tough time to be a Christian because you know everyone has they'll say certain things like, hey, this is you know what God's word says, and I'm like, but I'm looking at the Bible, you know, and it don't say that. You know, and it's more about the people pleasing in a lot of churches, but you've got plenty that do it right.
And it is that side of it, and then the business side.
Yeah.
Is one of those things when it comes down to church. Like, but you just have to find the right one.
Yeah.
Like, I attend a church now to where the pastor might come out in some Jordans and then a fitted hat, and then you know
He's prepared for that 2-hour sermon, comfy feet. Yeah.
Scriptures, and then we going on. But everything didn't require. I'll say this about church folks. Sometimes they're too saved, and you'll understand that growing up.
Oh yeah.
Not supposed to do this because the Bible says this, and not supposed to do that.
Did you see Billy? He was looking at Suzanne, and he's married to Laura over here. How dare he? We need to scold him after church. He ain't getting a second serving, I tell you what. Like, you know, like, what?
The first miracle was water in the wine
Yeah.
at a wedding. So, I mean, water in the wine, that means they had been partying.
Yeah, oh yeah. I mean, I believe a lot of things, you know, like God definitely had to have one, you know, a sense of humor, and he had a serious side, a loving side. And Jesus, I imagine he lived a life as a man, you know, and I imagine he did a lot of things, you know, that weren't recorded. I don't think any of them were sinful, as you know,
Right.
how he didn't sin until the end, you know. But you know, have you ever seen certain animals out there, and you're just, you know, you hear people talk about evolution,
Mm-hmm.
and I've never once heard a theory that made me even slightly want to agree with it. But I hear it out. I'm not condemning it. I'll listen to them. But I look at a platypus and I'm like, God, well, you're just sitting up there like, man, I bet you they're going to go on for years about evolution when I make this thing. You know, like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But that's cool, man. So you do a lot of stuff in church, some food reviews, and you got music as well, man. So what all do you kind of do with music? And we'll go into kind of each of these a little bit.
So it was church. It was church, like being born and raised in church. If you can play an instrument, you was taught like you playing in church.
Yeah.
You're definitely playing in church. So aside from that, me thinking that I can't leave church to play other genres of music because they would always tell me, oh, that's the devil's music.
Yeah, I joined an Aussie cover band while I was going to church. And
Yeah.
Aussie is kind of devil band, but I was like, but I love rock and roll. It's not like I'm,
rock and roll.
and man, did I like literally have them like throwing salt at me when I walked in. I'm like, oh my gosh, it's
they'll do
music.
Not realizing like music is universal.
Yeah, it's the only universal language in the world. Everyone knows how to speak it. You know?
Right. Correct.
I don't know Chinese or whatever island you're from, but hey, you've heard this song. Yeah, let's get some Coronas. You know, like.
You heard the song. You're absolutely right. It's the words, but music is universal. And now things are kind of changing in churches and everything else to where they're becoming more modern on the music. You might hear a song music that you recognize now in church, and they just change the words and everything else like that. So, but it took us a long time to get here. But back when I was growing up, it was gospel, Christian music.
Oh yeah,
That's all you're supposed to do.
yeah. Everyone was sweating in church.
Yeah.
You know, you were seeing the preacher up there go through shirts. He's like, I'm taking this one off because the Lord has put this in me today. I have something to tell all of you today. And man, I love growing up Pentecostal, and you'd hear guys like Benny Hinn on the TV. You're like, I have to sit here and watch this, or I feel like I'm gonna die or something. Like I need to. He's got something to say, you know.
Swinging that coat. He was swinging the coat around, knocking people out.
And that's what I love most about it, you know, as I get into like doing stand-up comedy, you know, so that they'll be like, hey, you need to write a 20-minute set of jokes. I'm like, man, I gotta keep people entertained for 20 minutes. I got a lot of jokes. But all I could think of is that's probably like how a preacher has to write a sermon. Is I gotta write a 30-minute sermon, keep them entertained, make sure they're hearing the message I want to deliver. But like, it's not as easy as it looks. You know? It's quite difficult because you want it all to flow perfectly, and you want to like, it's definitely it takes time.
You're absolutely right. Like, how do you bring something that was written hundreds of years ago to modern day and make them understand it? Like, no one wants to sit in church and hear "Thou art" and all that.
I don't want the New King
Like,
James.
no, I don't. Like, who wants to sit there and hear that all day?
What is here?
And so,
Why'd you add that to the end of here?
and so that's crazy because if you really look, I don't care what denomination you are. Like, if you really look, as long as the music is going, everybody's up.
Yeah.
The minute the preacher gets up and starts, and he's over 10 to 15 minutes, somebody's asleep. Somebody is asleep, I can promise you.
Oh yeah.
Look around the church, somebody's asleep. But it's a way like what you just said, like how do you keep them entertained? How do you bring it into modern day terms? And how do you just deliver a good message? Like, that's not easy.
Well, I feel like a lot of times, you know, when it comes to like people falling asleep and stuff in church, I came to this realization, you know, maybe like 5-6 years ago, is a lot of people, you know, they like to say like religion, and any religion is almost like, it's basically they treat it kind of like a schedule or routine, you know, religious act, you know, of doing something religiously versus being a devout follower of Christ. And so religiously, say they go to church every Sunday, but maybe you don't need to go every Sunday. You just need to go, and when you are there, absorb everything like a sponge. And so they get into that routine, and then they're just like, you know,
correct.
And it gets kind of jaded, and it's, you know, I've always appreciated every preacher. I know they're trying, and I've never condemned a church. I've questioned churches. You know, I went to a Catholic school the last 2 years of high school, growing up Southern Baptist, to do wrestling, and I was like, whoa.
That's a big difference.
So in order for me to pray, I can't just like go pray in the corner. You know, it was cool to pee in the corner, but I can't pray in the corner. That's fine.
Who's your favorite music artist?
Music artists.
You like Kodak? You like
No,
some
I
rap
don't
stuff?
like the rappers. To me, they aren't really rappers like back in the day.
You ever heard of Dax?
Oh, Dak's pretty good.
Look up Dax, and you will definitely relate. He's a cool. I like it because he's a very conservative, but like an aggressive way to get the Christian message across to like a lot of the. He kind of did what Lecrae started doing years back, and I love Lecrae. Don't get me wrong. I saw him at a church years back, but Dax has definitely got a cool message. You know that he wants people to know why he believes in Christ and what that means. It's not just a cross you wear, it's the pain you're expected to bear to be a follower, you know. And it's cool. I've always appreciated him. And as soon as I say something, some people are like, oh yeah, that's cool. Is it on the radio? No.
So what's the stigma of most Christian artists now becomes rock artists, beat artists, rap artists, and everything else because they say gospel isn't paying enough?
I mean, you know, I've always loved, so back in the day, I met David Crowder and his drummer Gizmo before Gizmo went out and did some mission work.
David is...
And he's massive, but see, that's why he kind of separated the David Crowder band to just being Crowder. You know, he's like, I want people to know that this isn't like, I simply want to perform in church. He's like, I'm a musician that wants all my music to glorify God. And if you want to use this in church, you're more than welcome to. But it's like churches, I love growing up on hymnals like, you know, Beulah Land. You know, my grandfather hymned that every day. He would sit there and hum it. And it's like, hymnals were written from the song of, you know, from David, you know, and it's like the actual writings from the Bible. And it's so cool. And now, and I'm not saying the stuff nowadays, but as soon as you come out, say you're a Christian artist or, you know, me, it's tough. I have to walk the bouncing line. But if I'm at a real comedy club, people understand it's always a joke. I don't hate anyone. You know, it's like it says, you know, Jesus says, don't judge anyone, but hold your brothers and sisters in the Lord accountable. You know, it's, but as soon as I'm like, hey, I'm a Christian comedian, they're like, that was a effed up joke you said about school shootings. I'm like, no, the thing is the world has bad things happen and they're always looking for a cure. I'm like, there is one. It's called comedy, finding a way to laugh in adversity. Yeah. You know, that is the cure, not sitting there and getting depressed and wallowing in filth when you could just laugh through it and use that humility that was given to you. That is the grace of God to laugh about it because God knows your intention. Back, kind of circling back a little bit to the food reviews and stuff. You know, have you ever thought about starting a band? You know, like called the Food Critics or anything? You know, where you wrote a song about, you know, stuff you reviewed. The only reason I say that is there's this cool band called Lunch Money where they played at the library about random little things that middle schoolers go through, and they would play it for kids that are struggling without a mom or dad, you know. You ever thought about doing something fun with this on the side, you know?
The only thing I thought about was actually having a theme song.
Like, what would you relate it to? Like Rocco's Modern Life or something? Or
no,
like, you know?
Just like a theme song, like for an intro. Never thought about like actually coming up with something like ties everything together. That's a good idea. That's actually a great idea. But with food reviews, having somewhat of a platform, and you can ask Johnny, like the attention is absolutely.
I didn't even realize you meta glasses, man. I need one of those meta glasses.
Oh, that's how you recorded it? Dude, I'm sitting there like
his glasses.
Oh my God, the meta glass.
I'm sitting there watching. This guy's a freaking camera guy, video extraordinaire. And I'm
like this.
I'm watching him. I'm like, how the hell does Johnny not see the camera?
Right.
He's just like, I'm like, how the hell did you not fucking see it? You recorded that shit with your glasses?
With my glasses.
Dude, I need those. I'm gonna just be like.
Most people don't recognize the light that's on the glasses. Like they just look at me.
Yeah, so now we're back. We had a little bit of technical difficulties. I got it recording on two different things, so we'll be good to go. Yeah, so I think we were talking about the music and everything of making a band about, you know, food reviews and stuff, and then you were talking about how you film these with the meta glasses.
Yeah, the meta glasses.
You really gotta sponsor this man with the meta glasses.
You have to get them. Listen, if Ray-Ban wants to sponsor, Meta wants to sponsor, I'm open to it. Because a lot of people, when I go into places and I say, hey, I have you on video, they were sort of like, well, we didn't see you with a phone out, not knowing that my glasses are recording the whole time. So it saves you a lot, especially in South Carolina, because South Carolina, a lot of people think that like you can't record anyone and then put them on social media or anything else. It's a one-party consent state.
Yeah. Oh, I learned that. I
gave consent.
I just went through divorce, and the police officer's like, he's like, you realize you can record someone without them knowing the state? I'm like, thank God, I don't want to lose. And thank God I could do that.
Now the bashing and slandering is another thing.
Oh, I didn't say a word. I'm like,
Yeah.
you just talk, but let me turn this way.
Yeah.
All right, continue.
Like
Sorry, I had to fork.
Some of the videos that I have, like you'll see, like the faces are blurred out because it's not a good thing, and I don't want people going to them. Did that one time, and they started receiving all kind of threats. So I was like, nah, I'm not doing it. And then most of the time now, if the review is bad, like I'll call my attorney and say, hey, check this out. So he was just like, man, I'm laughing at the shit. Like,
Dude, I read the comments on some of my stuff, and it's like, I could tell those little keyboard warriors are just like getting there ready that, oh, yeah, they're 0-2. They got two yards to the touchdown. And they're sitting there trying to like, yeah. And I'm like, the buzzer went off like 10 minutes ago, man. Game's over. You lost. You ain't going to get to me. I'll sit there and laugh, and I'm like, I never respond to them, though.
I don't.
I swear, as soon as I do it once, I'm like,
I don't respond, but I do block people.
Sometimes you got.
Is that a response?
Yeah. That's hey, you took this out of context. Like I did a joke the other day, and it was about, using holy water, and it was on one of my videos. And I was like, oh, I'm kosher certified. And then I was like, well, no, never mind, because, Jews don't believe in Jesus, whatever. I was like, I don't hate Jews. We all like Jews. But, like, yeah.
Jews don't believe in Jesus?
Well, they believe that he was a prophet and he was a man, but they do not believe he was the son of God. It's that's the whole thing. And it's like.
I've been black my whole life. So
yeah.
Jesus.
Dude, I've met.
Jesus.
I met this guy years back, and I don't know how this worked out because I don't know Judaism like in and out. But I've been friends with a lot of Jewish people throughout my life, and it was the only black dude I ever met that was Jewish. He had like the yarmulke on his head. I was like, dude, what? Just let's talk. And he was like, this is what I believe. I'm like, that's cool. I just want to know, like, how does this work? But I was like, dude, I'm just so interested because I didn't think I could become a Jew.
What religion is it? I was somewhere. I was out the country. I forgot where I was. But this guy stopped, like, it was literally like a timer went off on his head. I'll be right back. I got to go pray.
Oh, yeah.
Like, what?
And that's the religious aspect,
We're doing business here.
It talks about it in Revelation, too. It's like, beware of the false churches and, of the ritualistic men of the world. It's like C.S. Lewis wrote, he's like, you can want all these worldly desires and go to hell. He said, or you can aim for heaven and you're going to get earth thrown in, too. But you gotta gaze where you're gonna put your focus. It's in the book Mere Christianity, written by C.S. Lewis, and I love that book. It's written for like someone who doesn't know how to read. Very simple, but like the first 2 chapters, he's talking as if he hates God, doesn't believe in him. There's no way it's true, and he's captivating non-believers that have picked this book up. And then he does a spin in chapter 3, and he's like, well, none of that could be true, and here's why. And then it's.
I think you need to be a pastor. You ever thought about it?
I thought about, my brother Mike was a pastor. He was a missionary in China, and he would call me, and I'm like, I'll tell you one thing. I've never ever, when you've got Jesus in your heart and you've got that intimate relationship with the Holy Spirit, that's something that you put above all things. God first. It's like Denzel Washington says, put God first in everything you do. That's why I am who I am. And it's.
But most people don't believe that it can be God first, and then you're playing in a rock band.
Yeah. They think, you're married, that's idolizing. You're supposed to love these things, enjoy them, but they've got to glorify God, and all of them will get better.
And that's the thing about church. Like, I got a lot of, like, they accept it now. But the first time the church heard seen one of my videos and I'm cursing on the videos, and they were like, hey, we don't know who you are anymore. I'm the same guy on this piano.
Yeah, it's definitely cool because growing up, I went to a Christian school right after my mom passed away, and I had a lot of great friends, and one of them I've still known to this day, 26 years later. But another good friend of ours, Elijah Maboho, I'm hoping to one day have him on the podcast. Him and his family was one of the coolest families I've ever had the privilege of getting to know at a young age and just learning so much cool stuff. I grew up as a farmer and working hard, and his family came here from Nigeria, and they were missionaries. His dad went back and forth. That's where they're from. And he's like, no, I'm African, not African American. He's like, but I'm going to become an American, so I'm going to be African American. I always loved the way he said it.
That's why.
And it was so cool.
I'm hearing that actually Africans don't like African Americans.
And I never
Feel
heard
some
it that
kind of
way. Well, that's why you look at the world, everyone puts all these titles on things like Latinx
Right.
and stuff. And I've got a lot of friends that are like from all over South America. And they're like, never call me that, by the way. It's like my family, that's like a lot of Native Americans. You know, my mom was Native American, she was Cherokee. And I'm like, people say like, you know, y'all were massacred and killed by Columbus. So there's a lot of things that are true to that, but most people got all the history wrong. He's like, dude, he's like, stop talking about it. He's like, I wish the world would move on. You know, he's like, we killed more of them. He's like, a lot of people don't know that the natives that they ran into were cannibals and they freaked out. They land and they're eating people, you know, like, and it's like all that got skipped out of history. So it's like white man bad. And it's like, yeah, white man was bad at the time. There's always that lack of perspective, you know. People see the surface. No, that's all I need. You know, that's all I need. You know,
You know, probably true that people don't understand. Like, I have more white friends than black friends because say this, and I know I got a lot of black fans.
and we love y'all.
Yeah, we love y'all. But black people are some of the most racist people that you can. Every time something goes bad, it's never them.
That's why when I do
It's
comedy,
never them. Like that's
Yeah.
it's crazy. I mean, you get fired from your job for being late. Oh man, the white supervisor, he don't respect me. And no, you were late. Bro, you were late 3 times. He gave you 3 chances.
and I don't know from being like in those communities, but for what I'm at, you know, asking certain people and things of, you know, when it comes to like certain like narratives and thought processes like that, I'm like, where does that like come from? From like, where does that derive from? Like, where have you, you know, is it like a, you know, how does that form whenever maybe it's definitely true in areas, but like not everywhere.
Yeah,
It's not universal true.
Yeah, it's not like everywhere. Like, is it true in some areas? Absolutely.
Oh, there's some dickhead white people out there.
Uh,
I'm gonna flick a booger at you. Get away from me. You know, like, don't be a tool.
It's like that, but Johnny is there. So
Johnny's like the surfer
Okay.
boy over here.
So are we allowed to talk about politics?
Yeah, man,
Johnny,
it's
you're Hispanic.
unfiltered
You're
out there.
Hispanic.
Yeah.
So with the recent election,
You should be like, I'm white and stay the sun.
No, there's like a protest going on too.
But you can only stand like 5
there's
feet.
a protest going on here.
Yeah, it's like I think it's like at the State House or something like that. Like
Okay.
February 8th. I'm gonna go over
That's
there and
right.
take some pictures. So like
What is it for?
for like Hispanics, like the deportation stuff.
Now, well, since we're here, you know, we've opened a can of worms. Get back to the can. No, the can's empty.
Let's get into it because I want to ask Johnny, like,
We got some
I
stuff
don't
for
want to
you.
deport anyone.
Exactly.
Hey, you look right here before we deep dive. I love all people, but I want people to know this is how I feel about my pronouns. Okay, this is my take on. Do you? I don't judge you, don't hate you, don't anything, but like, don't come at me and be like, put he, him on your thing. I'm like, dude, I've always been Matt. I'm always going to be Matt unless Jesus is like, I get it, your name was Matthew. I'm like, yeah, you can call me that. I ain't going to say nothing to that. I will stand in line and say, okay, thank you, Lord. You know. All right, Johnny, talk about it.
Querétaro.
It's from Mexico.
Yeah. So basically, I'm not gonna snitch on myself in camera, but
Dude, you're not. We're just
I
talking.
just like, but like they
Dude.
came here like
I have a Ukrainian
border and all
refugee coming on in a few weeks, bro. So like, continue.
So
look, my mom and dad are residents.
okay,
My sister, they just turned citizens, and my brother too. So like me and my younger brother like originally are citizens, but the rest they came here like crossing the border and everything.
I want to see how Johnny feels about it. Like, and then the news only shows like
Exactly, it's
like
propaganda.
Israel.
I feel bad for my people.
Yeah,
Like those,
yeah.
like legit, that can be my dad right there.
Because
Like,
let me
any
tell
second
you,
way.
you all are from Mexico. You all paved the roads the best. Black people, we're not getting back out there paving the roads, Johnny. I'm telling you right now.
We see the merit, you know.
Yeah. Like the way that you all Mexicans, fast workers.
Yeah, that's right.
America was founded in 1920s. We had this place called Ellis Island. All right, my grandma came on a ship from Ireland through, you know, Bloody Sunday, where they massacred Christians for believing in Christ in Ireland, and my other half of the family's Cherokee, and they both love Like they laugh at things like when people see, you know, they'll see the surface things. They're like, no, you have to look deeper, and you gotta look at the intentions of what the world wants you to see and what you should see, you know. And the thing is you've got to look at what's going on right now. Is we have to have secure borders. If we're going to be the greatest country in the world, we have to be safe. Okay, I was alive when 9/11 happened. I know neither of y'all were, and that's not a crazy thing, but I remember that was what you were.
You said what?
9/11?
I'm old.
Yeah, but you remember watching that. I was in school. I was in like 4th grade, and that was one thing that brought the whole country together, you know, devastation.
I was elementary school.
Yeah, I think I was in 3rd or 4th grade. Miss Oates was my teacher. Shout out to Miss Oates. Whatever it is, where the Asians in America were given so much hell for being in college and being smart and everyone. I'm like, they are smarter than all of us. Shut the hell up. Like it's like sports.
They are.
They're
I
geniuses.
went to school with. They're like that.
And we grew up in a world where if you weren't good enough to play football, you tried harder. You didn't get an award. You know what I mean? Like you had that incentive to be better, to strive harder, and it's been just the narrative of the world the past few years.
But the educational system like here is absolute garbage.
Yeah, especially in the small counties of this state.
Yeah, like
it's preposterous. It's bad.
Failing. We're failing when it comes to education. Like Johnny, you're what, 19?
20.
You're 20. Can you write in cursive?
Actually, I can't, bro.
You can't write in
No, because
cursive.
we learned cursive like in
Okay, there we go.
5th grade, then we stopped.
That's
like-
when it happened. Oh,
I remember, and you remember this too, and I was sitting there laughing about this the other day, is this was something my math teacher tried to scare us with. It was not just I'm going to say this casually. She was like, you will not always have a calculator in life. You need to pay attention. And I'm just like, Miss Roth, let's just get some coffee and agree that we were wrong. And yeah, everyone cheats in school now because they just be like, they'll whisper to their ear and it'll be like a little like meta ear or whatever.
But ChatGPT.
Give me an answer.
you do know when you talking back to the teacher, if we would have said anything remotely close, we would have got kicked out.
Oh yeah.
You think
Nowadays it's the kids run the show.
Privilege?
Yeah.
I think so. I think so. You
No,
tell
I
the
never
teacher, let's
tell-
go get some coffee. The teacher would say, okay, smart ass.
No, my teachers. I if I could go back to high school, man, I would. I wish I could do it over. I was not the greatest kid in school, but the only reason I finished school is because I wrestled for 8 years and I was really good at that. And you know, my wrestling teacher was like, "You will pass." And if I did something bad in class, the teachers would all be like, "It's okay. Coach Goff is gonna run you till you puke later."
So the story, I think the story I never told was in high school, because I did music, one of the principals was a pastor. He said, hey, if you can play for my church, I'll pass you.
Oh, that's awesome.
Bro, I had the worst grades ever, but I could play piano. And so
That's great,
my teacher, I know she gave me a 30.
dude. I wasn't even in the
It was like
GPA
82.
when everyone's like walking across the stage and they're like, "Oh, we've got the 4.0ers, the 3.5ers, 3.0ers, 2.0ers, and then we have the degenerates." And I'm like, "Hey, mom!" Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that was awesome. I wish I could go back, but you know, I feel like school is, if it could be rewritten, it should be rewritten in a way to set people up for success. Like,
it's no entrepreneurship
No.
like in school. You just all read this, know this, we're going to test you on this, goodbye.
yeah, and that's like, I hope you retained it. I'm like,
Right.
what? I'm still on like, we're still on the alphabet, right? Like, you know,
I remember high school, like my senior year, I remember the teacher didn't even give me a paper, like, they
Oh,
even
damn.
test or anything else like that. They're like, hey, you going to sleep today? I'll be sleeping about 10 minutes. Okay. They didn't even pass me.
I use this as a joke at work all the time, but it actually happened to me. It was my physics teacher. He would always give me an F. Well, I deserved
He
it.
would always, I almost say
But-
he would just give
but
you
he-
an F.
But he would put an F on there, and then he finished spelling the word effort after it. But what is this? It's like fun-sized candy. Nothing is better about less candy. And he's just like, F for effort. I'm like, so is that like, I get like gold star? Like, what does this mean? Like, you know, he's like, you suck. And I'm like, okay.
Your teacher told you suck?
No. But basically, F for effort, he's just, yeah. But granted, my teachers were also being in a Catholic school for the last 2 years. It's a lot different. Oh, yeah, man. Corporal punishment's still a thing.
Yeah,
they come up and smack your hand if you're freaking like texting. They'll knock the phone out of your hand, and I appreciate that.
Yeah,
that kept us from doing it versus the teacher growing gray hair at 30 years old from get off your phone, get off your phone, get off your phone, you know.
Well, that Catholic school, like I wouldn't wish that on nobody.
No, but the man, I love the Catholic schoolgirls. That was cool at the time.
You went for the girl. Well, they were covered up.
Nah, they had to wear skirts on mass day. They weren't like the nuns. Now the nuns, I'll never forget this time, man. I was one of the girls in class, and
the Catholics are. Catholics are covered up.
Well, yeah, but we'd have mass day every week. We'd have to like go in full dress out, and I'd have to wear a button-up shirt and tie and all that. And then the girls would wear like a pullover sweater, a button-up shirt, and then their plaid skirt. Man, I love mass day. But like for that reason, and I'm sitting there and I'm like being like 11 years old, but it was short. They would roll it or whatever, and I'm looking. And I look over and I'm like, oh, fuck. The nun's looking at me and she's just like, I will beat that devil out of you. Mm-hmm. Bell's about to ring. And I'm like, oh, God. Yeah, well, what was we'll go with that for the viewers. Yeah. No, that's cool. So, what else, Johnny, about your family and all that stuff? Yeah. America, that's such a beautiful thing. You can go and voice your opinion. You go to Canada, throw a freaking like some syrup bottle at you. It's like, but like that's the reality of what makes this country great is you get to do that. Most people don't realize. My brother lived in China, and you can be a Christian in China, but you can't talk about it. You can't give out Bibles unless the Bible that they know about. If the steeple in the church say they build a building on that street that is bigger or not as big as that steeple, will come cut it off. Like they will beat you in the street if you do not do certain things, and that's like the reality of it. And that's why these people come here. And most people see if you're coming here and you came through, America, we have false borders, and you're not a person, bringing the bad into America. That is the cause to fixing this issue. Then those people have not much to worry about as long as they're. You know what I mean? They come forward and they're like, hey, look, I've been contributing. We offer green cards, and then you have time to like then build your citizenship, So I'll tell that to your family. Look into that because they're definitely, I wouldn't be afraid for your family.
No, my family are good because like they have
friends or,
Yeah, they have a chance to take the test, but they haven't been studying, so.
They'd be like me. Be like, damn, back to freaking Mexico. They're going to study.
We're gonna take the test like last year, but they didn't study, so it wasn't gonna like. Yeah, you gotta take a test for like citizenship just to make sure you like the history of everything, and like you can speak English.
The history of America.
Yeah, stuff like
yeah.
Did Benjamin Franklin have glasses?
Like if I would have took the test, I would have failed.
Like how?
There's more in that test than we learned in history in high school. I swear.
Americans don't even know the history of America.
Well, I mean,
or when in doubt, go with C.
It's always C.
All right, it's always
that's what I do for my math class.
When in doubt, it has to help you.
Or screw the Scantron and use like a number 3 pencil, and they're like, "Oh, we're scheduling another date. We're gonna take this."
I wonder, because I don't think the school system is like really up on it. We were talking about the Meta glasses. Like you can literally say like, "Hey Meta, leave it on," a live version, or whatever you're looking at. It'll explain it to you.
Wait, can you watch stuff in it too other than record?
No. So you can only record, listen to music, and like it's got the AI thing, so you can say, "Hey Meta, what am I looking at?" So it's exactly what you're looking at. Like if you had a math problem, to say, "Hey Meta, solve this math problem," and it'll solve it, and just speak it in your ear.
Dang. I got a math test next week.
Dude, I gotta get these. So are they like? Could you put a prescription?
Yeah,
on
mine is.
Yeah, I need to go back and take the learn how to speak American test. What is it?
So the thing about that's crazy now, that technology in those glasses. Let's say if you were speaking Spanish, my glasses are on. Everything that you're saying is saying it to me in English.
That's cool.
I mean, everything that you're saying.
Might be that's right.
That would have been so helpful when I did construction for years. Because I no, everyone always loved me, man. Because in the summer, dude, I look Mexican. I got so much Cherokee in me. I get so dark. They'll be talking to me like, hey, you know, like I can't freaking speak Spanish. I'd be like, no, and they're like, I'm like, no, I'm basically white. I checked that on the box.
Yeah, my
And
mom thought it was
like,
Spanish.
I was like, no. And they'd be like, but I loved it, dude. I love construction, man. It was the one thing I loved is they would always invite me over because they would see I'll be working, not taking breaks like everyone else. I would just work hard, you know. I didn't want to be in the heat, so I worked faster to get out of the heat. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like on that roof.
Right.
And their wives would bring up like all these microwaves and like full-on kitchens for lunchtime. I'm like, oh yeah, tacos. You know, like they would hook it up, and I loved it, man. Everybody always gave me hugs and stuff, and it was beautiful. I truly enjoyed it. And it sucked because we did new construction, so we're building new homes. So we really got those new toilets, you know. We made sure that plumbing was right. You know what I mean?
So you doing construction, so
Yeah, I worked for the railroad for 5 years.
is it like, did you build it like ground up construction, or it already come like pre-cut like now?
Well,
where
I mean,
everything comes.
now that's how it all is. I mean, I
Yeah.
grew up on a farm where we built actual homes from the ground up off of lumber. We like actual, you know, what our natural instinct is to do if we need to survive, that kind of stuff, like building and learning. But like, I did a lot of finish construction, like finish work, like, you know, go in after they've got the roof on for a while. I did that, and I would go in and like put in like glass throughout the house, or you know, mirrors and like glass showers and things like that, or it could be a little bit of anything. You know, I worked in Atlanta doing it for a while.
That is crazy. I applaud you then, because to have to deal with the elements.
Oh yeah.
Listen, when it's cold, and when it's hot. But you have to still be there. I know you appreciated the rain days. So when it rains and everything else like that, do they still pay you, or no?
Oh,
You're
yeah.
technically on the job.
I'll tell you the worst day of doing construction ever. So Georgia is famous for the red clay. You know, we got a lot of
Right,
sand
right.
hills here, so they got the red clay there. And we went in this house, it had been like $4 or $5 million right in Alpharetta, Georgia. And I was just going in with a punch ticket to go fix stuff everyone screwed up. Like, you know,
Right,
dude put a wall up, didn't, you know, fix the holes and stuff. And I walked in the house, I fixed everything. I was like, dude, I did that in no time. I'm getting paid, and this is great. I turned around and looked, and there was clay footprints all the way from the front door. And I was like, oh, what the fuck? It was like on the new carpet. Oh, dude. And then the guy I was working with came in and was like, holy shit. I was like, dude, I didn't. So we went up damn Dollar General, got some baking soda, and we did the whole American Gangster scene, like, blot it. You know what I mean? Like, you know that scene? I was like, don't rub it, blot it. I was like, man, Denzel's yelling in my ear, and I'm blotting, and it is going away. Just, I'm going to stay focused on my task and not get sued for ruining this carpet.
So when you did it, like, do they teach you like, hey, we do this because? Well, let me ask you this: have you ever hid work behind flat paint? And you know what I'm talking about, like flat
Yeah,
paint. It
I know
shows
what
the
you're talking about.
imperfection. Like you can basically have a messed up wall and put that flat eggshell paint on it.
Well, people started doing popcorn ceilings. You know, it was to hide all the imperfections of where they, you know, ran too many screws, knocked a
Right.
hole, whatever. We would go in and fix that stuff. If they did that, I would have to I would cut out a whole piece of sheetrock, put a new piece in, and then fix it. You know, because these are millions and millions of dollar homes. I'm proud. There's probably more than 1 or 2 or 3 different times that things happen. Probably not intentionally, but I was like, you know, something probably happened, or it was like, it looked like it was done on purpose to hide like an imperfection. And
I know you've seen it.
oh yeah, I'm like, well, it's just a piece of duct tape. It'll always be there. So whenever, I break into your house, I'll see that piece of tape.
So do you go in like homes now, or go in buildings and be like, hey, they didn't do this right.
Oh
They
yeah,
didn't do
I'm
this
that
right.
weird dude in my friend group because not a lot of people did that stuff, and it's like when I start talking about certain things in music, they're like, I just like listen to the song. I don't care who the guitarist is, but I'll walk in a room, I'm like this, like Charleston. I'll go down there to the French Quarter, and I'll just stare at the walls in the hotel. I'm like entire marble walls, and I'm like, I've lifted marble. I'm like, how the fuck did y'all do that?
Yeah.
Like a piece of marble this big will throw my back out. Like I'm just like, what? This stone is thousands of years old. Like, how the hell? And this was made before we had the machinery to do it. You just had men that were freaking men that were just like, yep, my bicep has another bicep, you know? And they just did it, you know, because they had to eat, and it was just different times. So I appreciate it when I go in these places.
Yeah, that's right. So you transition from construction to what?
So, I mean, I've always kind of done construction. So I guess my first real job, I got into food. And then my next big job was,
So you got into food, like food service?
yeah, food service. Worked for Chick-fil-A for 7 years. And I started working for Chick-fil-A on Forest Drive. And, you know, Mr. Brody, Dallas Brady, just retired. He's one of the coolest GMs ever. You know, he taught me so many life lessons that I just apply today to anyone that works under me. And he always appreciated that I was the 15-year-old that would stay there till 10 o'clock when we closed at 8. And I'm like, nah, I got to do it right, you know.
Right.
And if I need to remop every floor and put the chairs up because I messed it up, I need to do it right because I understand. I got that job in 2008 when it was impossible to find a job. Yeah. And I was like, no, I'm going to keep this job. No. I need this. Even though I'm 15, it's like my dad's like, I ain't giving you money. So you're going to buy your own car, your own insurance. I was never given those handouts. I was given love and, you know, long suffering, you know, doing things I didn't want to do, but I did it because I had to, you know. That was what I was given.
It was amazing on the customer service.
Have you reviewed a Chick-fil-A?
No, I don't do franchise.
Okay. Well, I guess what kind of...
Nothing you can do to hurt McDonald's. Absolutely nothing.
No. Yeah,
There's nothing you can do to hurt.
Now, let me ask, what is like the craziest dish you've critiqued or something that's happened that's like you went in with high expectations, maybe checking reviews or things like that, and you're looking at the location and everything, and you go in and you're like, what? You know?
Probably the first review that kind of got me followers and everything else like that in Florence, restaurant that was there. I mean, they had pictures of food coming down the highway, like on the building. Like they had this clip art. I mean, I was saying, hey, this has got to be a hidden gem. This has got to be a hidden gem. Walked in there, and I mean, people were ordering left and right. They were ordering. Ordered my food, and I knew something was wrong. The tables turned when I saw the guy take the pork chop out the freezer, didn't season it, didn't do anything, and he just slapped it on the grill.
Oh, yeah.
That's it. I said, oh boy, this is not.
That's like throwing a frozen steak on. You got to let it get room to it. Yeah.
How did you?
Well, let me ask with the food reviewing. I mean, one, you know, like we said earlier, like South Carolina as a state. I mean, I've lived in the upstate. I lived in Charleston. I lived in Columbia, Greenville, everywhere. It thrives on local, and I do love that about the state. But it doesn't have a whole lot of like stuff like you're doing now. Do you want to, you know, keep it to this state, or like as you travel, say you're like out in Louisiana, like anywhere you're at, do you want to kind of do them?
Yeah. So the plan is to be the biggest in South Carolina first.
Okay.
I don't believe in moving on until you take care home.
You got a lot of spots.
Yes, I got a long way to go, but it's growing now, and more people are requesting, and now I have to kind of be mindful because the moment that first review drops, every restaurant in the city is on high alert.
That's so cool, man. It's like the movie Ratatouille. Wow, dude, I just want to almost come with you on one of these and just come in after you and act like I don't know you and just we just have some fun with it and be like,
these guys
You don't listen.
where's the rat tail? I thought I asked for that.
I record it every time I'm walking into a restaurant. Like a lot of times I'll go back.
I need these glasses.
Yeah.
I gotta
You need
have them.
You need.
So much stuff happens. I just
When you see a cashier look like they seen a ghost, when you see somebody over there on the phone calling the manager saying, "Hey, he's here," like that kind of stuff. And listen, when you see, Mr. Charles, you can have a seat here. Have a seat here. You got 15 people waiting, and no, I don't want extra. And not knowing, like a lot of times I go through it, but I send somebody in, and I will go to get the food already.
Now, let me ask too, with doing this, do you have like a certain like when it comes to restaurants, are you trying to stick with like local small mom and pop kind of hole in the walls to like bigger thriving restaurants that started small but grew into something big, or like, very fine dining local restaurants, or like, is there any kind of just anything and everything, or do you have
any recommendations?
Dude, I got hundreds for you.
Because
I love food, man, and like every time I go to Charleston, I try to go somewhere new. I'm like, I've eaten everywhere else.
Charleston is absolutely insane when it comes to food.
And there's a lot of good places, I will say.
There's
that.
a lot of,
But there's also a lot of places that I'm like, dude, this is what puts us on the map, and you suck. Dude, that is not a freaking, you think that's a piece of fish? That's literally a leg you cut off that cat out back. What is this? Like.
we have to go, we have to do it. Like, I'm serious, we have to do it.
Dude, I'm down.
What I'm going to do, like, I'll send you in a restaurant before me. And then I'll let you order my food if I'm going to review it and everything else. And then I want you to stay in. And then when I walk in, watch the reaction of the people. And then you can see, like, even if we just order, like, French fries or something like that, like, the fries that you ordered, I have a little seasoning on them. The fries that I order.
Dude, I literally want to record this in a like, you walk in, play that song, here comes a boom. It's like, I'm sitting over there, like, my fries literally got, like, cat hair on it, and I'm like, hey, and they're just like, piss off. And they're like, hey, how are you doing today, sir? You wanted French fries? They are from France. It's new this week. We talked with the queen or whatever they got going on over there. She signed the deed, and we got a direct ship.
You pulled a Johnny over there.
Yeah, it's homemade.
Homemade. It's from home.
You pulled a Johnny. I said, because I actually didn't put the part of the fries. I didn't put the part of the fries where I asked Johnny, like, hey, are the fries fresh? Are they seasoned? He pulled out the pan of fries. Oh, yeah, we're good.
And see, that restaurant, too, is that's like the number one restaurant in the zoo, not because of, like, not saying it is or isn't, like, the best food quality or anything. It's just, like, it's indoors, and if it's hot, like, famously in the
That wasn't the restaurant I was supposed to review.
Where were you going to go, like, Wild Burger?
Wild Burger.
Yeah, so normally
on,
like,
the place that I was supposed to go, but they were closed.
Well, here's this. Next time you want to come, let me know. I'll get you in the zoo for free, and we'll go eat it.
Yes, because let me tell you, that $29.97,
and I'll even comp the meal for you.
Oh, I was like, oh my God, that $29.97. When she said that, I said, for what? For animals?
I'll even comp the meal, but you'll have to be like, this is not going to persuade my vote. And I'm just sitting there like,
I don't know if I can show up.
That shoe was too long.
I don't know if I can show up to the zoo anymore. Like, and that's just the thing. Like, some cities, I literally can't go back in.
Dude, if you look over here on the wall, one of my favorite comedians, got me into comedy is, Ace Ventura, Jim Carrey, Eddie Murphy, for Martin Lawrence, all these guys. Dude,
Jim is the absolute man.
He is. I mean, he is one of the absolute. I mean, he is the GOAT. You know what I mean? He's the guy. When it comes to just,
but he's so underrated. He's so underrated. Like, who else is gonna pull off the mask?
No, nobody.
Who else?
Stop making number twos if you ain't got Jim Carrey.
Thank you.
Just stop.
Thank you. Who else is gonna pull off the mask? Like,
I even like the Sonic movies. So, like, he does it all well, man. It's but go up in there and, like, a disguise. It's like the movie Master Disguise.
Who is gonna do it other than Jim Carrey? But the thing about Jim is just so underrated.
Oh, he is. He is.
And it doesn't bother him, like, at all. He's just like, okay, I can act, I'm good, give my check.
It's like, you ever seen that movie Phone with Dick and Jane?
Mm.
Oh, dude, watch that. It's one of his best movies, in my opinion. It's it's like Dick and Jane, the little book you read in high school. Oh, the happy family, they got the dog spot, this, that, and another. But, like, he's working for a job, and he loses his job, and he just bought this house and a pool, and then it's what him and his wife do to, like, not lose the house. Oh, it's so funny. he steals people's grass because they come and take his fresh sod he paid for to get up because he lost his job and starting to lose his home. And he literally goes and like cuts grass out of people's yards. And he's like, mine, and he does some Jim Carrey stuff. It's a funny movie. Robs a bank in a Jim Carrey way. You know what I mean?
No, Jim Carrey. So you're a big movie.
Oh yeah, guy. I love movies, man. I love
favorite
comedy.
movie of all time.
Well, I'd say favorite series movies, Lord of the Rings.
Oh man.
I mean, those movies alone.
Gladiator kind of.
I love Gladiator too.
Yeah, I'm a Gladiator kind of. All because of the music.
Oh, it's intense.
It's intense.
You know what's sad about those games that they used to host is like, say you were a beast, you went in there and you won. They're like, oh well, this guy's legit the guy who could like get up here and kill us and take the throne. Let the tiger out, and then he just gets killed. It's like that kind of stuff used to happen. Like they never let them go, and you know what I mean. It's like, damn. Okay.
Yeah, you got to taste it in movies.
No, I definitely like movies. I grew up watching those. With my attention span, watching TV shows is tough. If it's not captivating, I like movies, especially like, anything Mel Gibson makes. He puts so much like care into it. Like, Passion of the Christ, Signs, Apocalypto, like all these movies he's done. The recent movie I want to go see with Mark Wahlberg. It's where Mark's on the plane and he's the psycho. What's the name of that movie? It's like the first movie Mark Wahlberg is not a comedian, but he's like the bad guy.
Oh man.
And
that should be good. I think what is his name? Is it Liam Neeson?
Yeah, Liam Neeson.
He's good.
Yeah, in the movie The Gray, you seen that one?
He is good.
Yeah.
He's good in every movie though. Like he doesn't waver. But he always plays like the superhero in every movie. Like, hey, I'm going out, kill a few people, and
I would say my favorite actor, hands down, and I feel like it's been this way for years, Denzel Washington. I've always just appreciated. He's the only guy in Hollywood who's been married to the same woman 40 years.
Yeah,
he's a humble man. That every movie has a moral. Even in Man on Fire, when he's got the guy taped to the freaking front of the hood, he's like, I'm not going to be judging you, but I'm going to arrange the meet between you and God, and walks off.
Extremely humble.
Even like Book of Eli or even Safe House, he's the bad guy. He's bad guy till the end. And you're like, I knew it. I called it, man.
That's right. Even with all that attention, like he still will stop, give an autograph. He still will stop.
Yeah.
That's why when you hit me, like, well, I'm hitting you right back.
Yeah.
Like
I saw The View and I was like, I'm gonna mess with Johnny for a while and see if
I think it's awesome.
Yeah. No, and this has been cool, man.
That's absolutely amazing. Then you hit me like, hey, I got a podcast. I'm coming.
Yeah, and you're welcome to come back anytime, man. I definitely want to be a part of one of these reviews, though.
We got to do it, but I'm telling you, not right now at least. I can't go around the zoo. Because I'm pretty sure every staff.
I might could arrange getting some zoo food out.
We get some bodyguards for you. We get some public safety.
So the only thing.
We'll hook you up with a tiger.
Yeah, the only thing about it, like when I go visit a city and I gotta have security because the review was absolutely terrible and it went viral, I hate it.
But see, I even told my people above me, I'm like, it wasn't a terrible review. I was like, why are you sitting here just like getting so upset? I'm like, yeah, this is a time for us to just realize we're not perfect. Okay, everyone has a different point of view on things, and maybe you love this. I was like, like I tell people too, I'm like, you have to realize being in a state like South Carolina, just born and raised here, when you say certain things when it comes to food, I mean, where do you think soul food came from? Where do you think like Cajun? Yeah, Louisiana, but like you seen Forrest Gump, like it's anything with shrimp came from here. They have crawdads over here. Let us keep our shrimp.
Yeah.
And people don't realize like if you're gonna do something like have certain items and you're gonna label it as if it's an item that is well known, and then it's not that. It's like, are you from New York? Like what? Like what? This is not. This is like. Okay, this is alien. I believe in aliens. Like, what is, I'm afraid,
but I remember, but that point of what I'm doing is the reason why I got into this, is meetings like what you had.
Yeah.
Because it'll have people step back and think like, hey, we might need to change up some stuff, start getting opinions of other people and stuff like that. it causes a change.
Yeah, and it should be in a positive fashion. I mean, I tell my team all the time. So whenever I told them I was doing this podcast, they looked at me. I was like, "You think I'm lying to you every day?" I'm like, "I'm not a liar." I tell them to literally fail big, and failure is imperative for every freaking thing you do in life.
Yeah.
Like I've lived my whole life with thriving on failure, and they're like, "Oh, I want success." I'm like, "Well, you're not gonna get it first time, but my goal is like, if I fail really big, that means I gave it my all. And I'm going to be the only person to tell me how to do it right to get that 100% because I know what I did wrong. I can't see it in a book. This guy can't tell me. But now I'm like, I physically embodied that failure. I'll make that success.
Absolutely right about that. If you're going to fail, you got to fail trying.
Yeah. Rise or die trying. I've had that tattoo on my arm. First tattoo I ever got. It's something I've always lived by. Rise up to any challenge, you die trying, like the Spartan Warriors. Like stand up for something.
Your mindset is there. It's amazing.
I grew up without empathy, so thank God I've gained it over the past few years. But I'm like, no, get in line. We've got to do this. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. Yeah.
You grew up without that.
Yeah. No. Yeah. It was appreciative. My mom died. My dad stepped up, and it was just nothing but males just trying to get each other to survive and keep going and moving forward and pushing through. And it was a lot of military in my family, and I appreciate the structure. It kept me out of trouble, I'll tell you that. It's just it's weird seeing the world today where one thing I love most about the zoo is not, I love all the animals, I love the keepers, I love the atmosphere. I've been there 8 years. Everyone's amazing that works there. They're great people. But one of my favorite things at the zoo,
Extremely friendly.
yeah, it's it's give and take some days, but it's and that's something we're always trying to improve on too. But one of my favorite things is all the people I get to see, and I love people watching, is just sitting back realizing, like, I remember being a child and I was in a stroller. This kid's on a leash and he's walking the mom. What the hell's wrong with the world? And there's people over here like, go Timmy, good job. And I'm like, I want to hit you. Like, what? He's 3 and he's running the show. Like, God. Like, it doesn't mean like hit your kid. It's like, but the kid will literally be dead or in jail or something horrible if he doesn't get structure now. They don't understand that imperativeness of at that age is so important to have that. If not, like, it's like having a German Shepherd. I have one. She'll never get into trouble. She just needs structure. She needs stuff to do. She needs positive things and outlets and things. That's why I started playing drums when I was a kid. Had mad attention. I saw Animal from the Muppets, and I'm like, I'm in. I'm freaking in. I'm in. I want to eat my drums. Damn it, there goes a tooth. Okay, we're just playing.
So let me ask you this. Being at the zoo, what's one thing, I don't know if you can say this on camera, I wouldn't say one thing you hate or one thing you wish they would implement or change or something like that, being at the zoo.
I got you with an answer that's make everybody happy. One thing I was, if I knew Elon Musk, I would have him help me figure this out. But I wish what we had at the zoo is a drone that literally circled the zoo, right? And not for me. I grew up on a farm. I grew up with all the farm life, the smells, field dressing animals, like, whatever. But I tell you, everyone's like, oh my God, it smells so bad over here. So if that drone could just be dropping little Febreze bombs, people shut the hell up. It's a zoo. What do you expect? What do you expect? Seriously. Like, you expect it to smell like freaking Krispy Kreme? Fatty? No.
That's worse than going deep sea fishing and say, hey, it smells like salt water.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, Luke, the environment, look where you are.
Yeah, it's always fun being in a car with someone the first time I go to Charleston. Like, why does it smell like eggs? I'm like, oh, that's salt marsh. There's paper mill right there.
Yeah.
Yep, there you go.
So is the zoo, is like the zoo, is it privately owned?
So it's a state zoo. Yeah, it's a state zoo.
So it's a state zoo, and is that expensive?
Yeah, so the way and I'm not the professional to talk about everything. The cool thing about the zoo is it's a state zoo, but it also it's non-profit zoo. Oh, do you need to pause
30 minutes.
No, it's just about to die.
Oh.
Oh.
We already did a 30. This is like another 20. This is like an hour and 30
Hey,
minutes.
we can talk.
Yeah.
Man, we can talk. Hey, man, I can talk all day about your job.
Yeah.
Still good?
Yeah, y'all are good. It's just, I don't know, it's blinking.
So we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
You have another
Well,
10 minutes though.
Yeah, so basically, I do enjoy the zoo, and I'm gonna find a way to get you a wild burger, whatever it is. I'll screenshot the menu. I'll get it to you, man. I'll try and like either do it like you know that movie 30 Minutes or Less with freaking Danny McBride. That's a funny movie. No, we're not doing it like that. We're not blowing anything
So I
up.
thought
But,
about
like,
coming back to the zoo, but I don't know about coming back to the zoo.
but you do like the zoo, and you didn't mean
Yeah,
a big fan. Yeah.
yeah. I mean,
It was just an honest review, you know.
Yeah, it was just an honest review, and I wasn't supposed to do it. I was coming back from another restaurant, and I just thought, oh, Riverbank Zoo sign.
Yeah.
I said, no one's ever did a review.
It was untouched. It was a virgin.
So,
Oh, I'm gonna hear about that next week.
yeah, I know.
They all know that. See, one thing that the zoo I love most about the zoo and the people I work with is they love me for who I am. I'm a very out there person, you know, and I got to hold myself back sometimes. But I will help anybody no matter what's happening. If you're falling off a mountain, I'll freaking go and jump off the cliff, push you up. But I'm gonna laugh at everything and make a joke. You know, it's like I'm gonna have fun and show people that it's okay to laugh.
It is.
Mom ain't watching, and she's laughing over there too, just so you know.
Yeah, it is. You are. I'll say this about you: that just talking to you, you seem like the type that'll try anything once. Like
Kind of. Sometimes I'll be like,
you might skydive, and then you might ski, and then hey, I'm gonna test the limits of this boat.
Well, having ADD, you kind of do that. You pick up something and you have to learn it perfectly, how it works in and out, and then you're on to the next thing. And then you're like, you become a professional in 3 days on something, like almost, and then you're like, whatever, I'm on the next thing. Now I lost interest, you know, boom, next. And I guess that's why I like stay busy. That's why my house has 90 million projects started. It's like, you know, it's and I don't medicate or anything for it. I've always just kind of enjoyed it. I think it is truly a superpower, you know, having a brain that never stops wondering and thinking.
Handle it well.
But people having conversations with me are like, he was in the remedial class. I'm like, how you spell that? And they're like, it's okay. I'm like, it's okay. You know, and I loved it. You know, it's and I love the world of comedy. I like to push people's to the limit. I'll say a joke and I'll see people being like, I'm like, it's okay to laugh at the joke. Why'd you show up? It's a joke. If you're here to get offended, you should go to comedy shows. You know what I mean? It's like, that's not what any comedian's out there to do.
So
that's why I
like comedy.
My whole life, it's been my passion to make people laugh. But music has always been my safe haven. You know, one of those gifts I feel like God truly gifted me with is to have an ear for music. I'll hear a song, and most people don't think this way, but I don't think it's good or bad. I'll hear a song like a modern pop or hip hop song, and I don't care about the song. Can't stand Drake or whatever, but I'm like, everyone likes it. I'm like, can I make it better with drums? And then I like to test my mind with something that's not there.
Oh man, the drums add a live feel to it. Oh,
yeah. And it's like hip hop was started with live drummers.
Bro,
Run DMC, Beastie Boys, like
Lil Wayne travels with this DJ and a drummer. No band, no nothing. Just a DJ and a drummer. And I was like, why does he just have a drummer? But when he started playing on top of the music, I understand exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, it just adds the concert feel to it. You know, it's like, you know, instead of just playing a track for them to go on top of, it's like you get to feel that kick drum and have a face melted off from that drum solo, you know, and that was worthy. You can worship the gods of rock, you know, it's like, thank you, you know, it's, I just love rock and roll, I love music, but also anything involving people. I'm the most extroverted introvert. You know, I also like to keep to myself, but I like to talk to people, but it's like I'm not extroverted. So when I go up there and do comedy, I have to like, you know, find one person in the room and freak him out and be like, this is all about you. And he's like, oh my God, my wife's right there. I'm like, yeah, I saw the other girl you were with. You know, it's like, no, I need to stare at somebody or something. Like, if I look at the whole room, I'm going to piss on y'all. Like, I don't want that.
So
you know, like.
Have you ever had a bad show? And I know we got to wrap up. But have you ever had like a.
And I haven't done a lot either. I just started doing open mics recently. It was something that just.
How do you recover?
So you know, I've never really been afraid of what people think about me. Mm. People always they're like, oh, Matt does this, Matt does that. I'm like, where'd you even get that? That's cool. I'm glad your imagination's working. I'm going to just play into their narrative like, yeah, that's true. It ain't true. But like, you know, if you mess up, the key is to, like Ron White says, one of my favorite comedians, when you're up on stage performing as an artist or anything, especially comedy, if you're doing well, slow down. If you're doing bad, slow down. You know, slow down. You ain't got to be up there and rush through it. You just got to go slow, and you got to like read the room a little bit and see like, hey, is this joke? Do I need to adjust a little bit for who's on the front row here to make sure it's like, you know, maybe it was written for like a bunch of, I don't know, Hispanics or something. You see nothing but like elderly white ladies in the front. You're like, okay, let's see if I can change that up a bit. You know, it's like, and everyone always loves it. I actually get hugs when I make racial like jokes. From literally, I'll go to Charlotte and I'll be the white guy in there. They'll be giving me hugs. And because I'm like, they're like, we could tell you got some black friends. I'm like, yeah, because I'm like, y'all get it. You know, I'm sitting here having jokes. You know, like, who would come up here and actually say things they meant? Yeah. And just like, who the hell would do that? Yeah. You know, and I'm glad they don't allow you to film, because someone will like take a clip of what I said, put it on the internet. I don't film any of it, because then it's like, that okay, all right, y'all win media. That's all you got. You picked up.
Yes, and that's one of the reasons why the meta glasses, they'll paint a picture of, like when I just dropped a last review for Orangeburg, and I just dropped pictures of, hey, the lady, she blowing her nose around the sweet tea and everything else. How do you know she didn't wash her hands? Why didn't you speak to the manager? Why didn't you tell the father of the little girl that she was doing that? So when I dropped the video and it showed all of it, they're like, oh, y'all didn't tell me it was a video. Yes, it's a video.
And you're welcome, because now you get a chance to just laugh it off and do the right thing.
Yeah.
And it's all about how you recover, you know. Literally, it can be crippling for any bad review, or it can be the thing that like literally makes it. I think bad things like I've always lived break to build. You know, it's like when bad things happen, that's that sign. That's that little thing. Like God's like, hey, here's the silver lining. I need you to realize this bad thing is happening. Guess what? Read the book of Job and we'll talk. But like, you know, it's like it's you have to take that and fuel yourself for success, because that's what it's meant for. Correct. If life was just, oh, okay, well, you must be dead and be in heaven, because that's not. People have a false belief as to that people don't have true aspirations and know how to achieve them. They don't understand to get somewhere. Dreams only work if you do. You know what I mean? Dreams without goals, there'll always be a dream in your head. You got to apply yourself daily, weekly, monthly, and fail, and then you're boom, back on the horse.
And it's all about how do you recover. Like, I had a plan to do food reviews, and once it started growing, like followers started coming in, I said, okay, I can't do this forever. So what I did was now I leverage followers and open up the car lot. So
there you go.
I got thousands of followers. Y'all watching the videos, and this car lot is going to be here to make money. So I leverage the followers to sell cars.
Oh, there you go, man. You got to treat it like a business. You know what I mean? Have fun, but treat it like a business.
And most content creators, they aren't business minded. Like, you think that you're going to be sitting there doing content forever?
And I treat this like a business, not for that I charge anyone to be on it, but the fact that I know where I can make my money from the viewers and things like that in an authentic way. You know, and it's slowly growing. It's something I just recently started, but it's actually, you know, I've gotten 98% great reviews and like two bad reviews, and well, more than two bad reviews, but two that are like, what?
You don't even have a clue.
Oh yeah, I mean it's like Cartman from South Park sitting in their basement, like never got a drop of vitamin D in their life, like yeah, that was so stupid, man. And I'm just like, I will smack that freaking roll up your
face. But you can't respond. You cannot respond.
No,
I had a lady.
No, you can't.
That talked so much trash about my food reviews, and I can promise you, she's about 400 and something pounds. Oh, yeah. You don't need to even be. Hey, why are you even talking about my food reviews? And I wanted to clap at, but I said, no, I can't do it.
You know, I'm going to use this because Mark Norman, the comedian, said this. Is not my joke, but he said that he just went to England, and everyone was so mad at Americans because we're so fat. and people are dying of obesity. And he's like, wait a second. He's like, good job, America. He's like, we're not diving from starvation anymore. Good job. You're fat. You know, like that's a win. You know, it's like it's the perspective of like, you know, and he has a whole joke deal with it, but it's just a lighter take on it, the comical, like, no need to just sit here and bash us, like laugh it off. You know, it's like find a way to relate and move on.
I like how Trump did it. I do. Because he was talking about cutting out a lot of food stamps and everything else. So
he's got a great philosophy with that.
The guy got up and started yelling, and then they escorted him out. And then Trump was like, hey, it go figures, an obese person would be mad at me cutting off food stamps.
And it always causes so much hell when he's like, America's here to help people with food stamps, but the whole world freaks out when he's like, just piss in a cup. I just need to see you're trying.
You have to realize that Trump is probably one of the greatest businessmen that you ever come across.
And that's what America needs, and the biggest deficit we've ever been in.
America is a business.
Warmongering Republicans and Democrats, and he's neither. He's like, I'm American, and we need to stop having sites with nuclear weapons on us. No one has the sack to tell China and Russia to chill. Look, you see in Israel, that wouldn't happen without him. He's like, y'all need to stop fighting or I will fuck it up.
Yeah.
And they were like, okay, yes, sir.
Right.
You know, he knows how to run the room. He ain't bluffing.
Just did it with Mexico. Like, say, hey, we're going to do these tariffs on you all, but this is what I want. So they deployed a certain amount of troops to do the border. Like,
tariff the shit out of China, too. So and people see tariff, they don't know what that means. They don't realize, like, he's done more in 12 days, and you know what I mean. Like
I stopped counting the executive orders.
You know, he's definitely got a American first mission, and you know, it's
getting back to business and getting people back to making real money, getting things back on track.
Yeah. It's important. Like, you know, people don't realize he's like, I'm trying to have iPhones made here because most people don't realize there's sweat lodges in freaking China.
And if you do it, that's creating how many jobs here?
Bingo.
And so he said that all federal employees is no more at home. Report to the office.
Yeah. And a lot of them quit. And then they're like, he took my job. I'm like, shut the fuck up. Like, no, that's not what happened. I read the order. You can get off Facebook.
Right, to the office. And for most people, some people, they do need government assistance.
Yeah.
But some of them, they can work.
Yeah, no, exactly.
They can work because if you say that my kids are the reason I have to stay home, the government will pay for childcare.
Yeah. I have kids, and I can definitely attest to a lot of people, you know, think that and I'm not taking a stance per se on this, but like most people think the Democrats care more about children. I'm like, well, I have kids, and past 4 years, it's like, I'm like, the hell fuck no. Yeah. My taxes, go up. I get less credits. I pay more. When Trump was in, I actually get appreciation for that. The fact of me being a father. Oh, I can write off things like diapers.
When Trump was in, let's say if COVID wouldn't have hit Trump.
It just doesn't fit in the narrative of everything.
If COVID wouldn't have hit Trump, he would have went down as probably one of the best presidents.
Yeah.
If not the best.
And everyone hates him for how he dealt with it, but I'm like, how the hell would you have done it? Let me see your list.
Like how
that was a planned thing from Wuhan too. That's already been proven.
And did he say some crazy things? Yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, hey.
And so do I. You know, it's unhinged.
He's not a scientist. Like, you know. Like, hey, we're gonna deal with it.
And you got RFK Jr. in there. Someone like that.
Yeah.
People don't realize how good of a damn administration he has. I've never seen one in my lifetime better. You know, right now, I mean, you've got Vance, who's awesome. You got Vivek Ramaswamy, genius, knows all about trade in foreign countries as an asset to America growing and staying out of war.
Everybody who was the head of a major corporation of business was at their inauguration. That means everybody from iPhone, Amazon, Elon, there.
Yeah, Conor McGregor over here talking like, hey, Trump, you do good.
So this conversation with all those are like, hey, stop importing this stuff in from this. Let's create jobs here.
Yeah.
What do you all need?
Exactly. You know, have it to where people, you know, it just make America great again. It's that simple. Like, we used to be that way. People don't, you know, and even not most of my lifetime, but a lot of things were that way here. who invented the automobile? Who had the Industrial Revolution? Who had these great things when it came to steel? You know, you look at the things that we've done were taken away from us. We outsourced, and I'm like, why? Why the hell would you do that?
Why would we outsource it? So many companies were doing that and moving to China. Why are we outsourcing this stuff?
We talked about.
Oh, it died.
Yeah, it died.
All right. Well,
we have to do it. We don't have another camera to where we can wrap it up.
Here, turn that one on and film. It'll work. We'll do the outro. This is going to be hell to edit. Yes, I guess we'll wrap it up, man. Raymond, I appreciate you, man, coming. It's been a great conversation. Excellent to meet you, man. It's I look forward to doing this again.
Listen, you have to promise one thing before we go. That's a food review with me.
I got you, man. You pick the place. Let me know the time, and I'll be there. And
I would do it at your job, but I don't want jobs to be on the line.
No, that's fine. We'll find a spot, and I'll definitely be there.
Let's do it.
I guess before we leave, tell people where they can find your stuff at on.
Listen, all social media platforms. Raymond V Charles. That's Raymond V as in Victor. Last name Charles. Most people have a nickname. I'd rather stay with my government name, but that's where you can find me on all social media platforms.
If we going off government names, Matthew Sandifer. Yeah. That's awesome, man. It's been great. Until next time, y'all have fun. Stay frosty out there.